You ready?
We're ready. Let's go.
Okay. So, as a continuing part of our SMART series, which is sales and marketing alignment, real talk,
Real talk.
this is going to be a thing. So, we were just chatting about what advice we would give to our younger selves, and why we think this is relevant is it kind of goes to some previous things about how we've been there, done that. We've got the battle scars, but that's only valuable if you can actually communicate that in a way that makes sense to people. So, I'm going to turn the tables to Tim here and say, Tim, if you were to go back to younger Tim, big, rugged, beautiful hair flowing in the wind, comes out of your helmet, you do one of these. If you were going to give it, well, maybe not that Tim, we'll go forward another 10 years. If you were going to give younger marketing Tim some guidance or advice, what would it be and why?
Oh, yeah. Longing for those days of the flowing hair. There's a couple of things that pop to mind on this question, Scott. The first one is to reinforce the fundamentals. And by that I mean, coming out of commerce with a marketing focus, thought I knew lots. When you work for big consulting firms, PwC and Deloitte, you realize that when you're young, you don't know everything. And to really take the time to build that foundation, that expertise, that knowledge. So ask better questions.
Ooh, I love that.
Be critical, be inquisitive, be skeptical, be curious. And I think collectively those things give you confidence. And the second point would be finding mentors, not
Ooh,
just one person, but you're going to see during your career. And sometimes it wasn't until after the fact that I realized somebody was essentially a mentor.
yeah.
But when you get those opportunities, ask them, ask them for their insights, ask them for their guidance, ask them for their opinions. At the end of the day, it's all up to you and what you want to do or use with that. But if you don't ask, you're not going to know. So even if you ask and the person says, no, I'm not going to share anything, you're no further behind.
Yeah.
So ask because you may end up further ahead. So for me, it's those two things wrapped up with because I believe that that will help you as a person grow collectively over time, which is what we all want to do.
Okay, so you're saying that focusing on the fundamentals and having a mentor is and would have been even more critical at the time if you were doing it with,
Right. And the third piece that ties in with that is putting those elements into practice
yeah.
more deliberately. So let me flip it over to you and say, Scott, younger Scott, what would you tell younger Scott?
First of all, I had good hair too. Maybe not
Still
as
does.
yeah, maybe not as sick flow as you had, but so it's a great question because I think one of the things that I've realized is that younger Scott worked really hard, and younger Scott was quite personable. I made great relationships with people, and I had no problem grinding it out, making lots of calls and lots of emails, and throwing lots of, can I say shit?
You just did.
Throwing lots of shit at the wall and hoping it would stick. And I think what I've learned in the last 10 years, and probably the last five especially, as I've really sort of leaned into the profession of sales is that what I was missing, and I'll use a hockey or football example here, as I was missing the X's and O's. I didn't have, so whether you call it fundamentals or whether you call it just simply having a game plan, I didn't know what my game plan was. So it's almost like the idea of, I want to get to that destination and I'm going 100 miles an hour, but I don't really know the fastest or best or most efficient route to take. So my advice to younger Scott would be a little bit to slow down and be more intentional about having those fundamentals, having that sales process in place. And I think the benefit would have been, and of course, the idea of what you said as a mentor, I don't know that I really had many of those. And I'm not sure it was because I wasn't paying attention or they just didn't exist in the sales world. But I think the benefit to me was I think I would have been a lot more productive and effective with a lot less effort. I think I wasted a lot of time and energy compensating for lack of a plan by putting a lot of effort in.
I think, if you ask most people, they would probably agree with the points that we've made, insert whatever their profession is. So this is perhaps the wrap-up question for everybody. Take 5 minutes, think, perhaps write it down if you're so inclined, but ask yourself, if I could go back, what would be that question I would ask, or what would those things be that I'd look for? And again, this is not to turn back the clock, but to say, okay, knowing that and where you are now, you can probably do some of those things still as you progress in your career towards whatever retirement end you have in mind.
So yeah, so I guess the idea, be reflective. What have you learned and what could you be doing even better to be even more effective in your role?
Terrific wrap up.
All right. How do you end?
Onward.